Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
Another round of coronavirus aid. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says work is underway on a fourth coronavirus relief package.
There are chasms of disagreement among Republicans about how to do another bill. Stephen Mnuchin talked about kids and jobs being the core of the next bill, his term there. McConnell says he's going to take control and write this bill in his office. There are major disagreements about extending an extra $600 of unemployment benefits set to expire at the end of the month. Also, there are worries about the cost. McConnell wants to limit the measure to $1 trillion. The president continued to push for a payroll tax cut. That's something that's very unpopular on both sides of the aisle on Capitol Hill. It's going to take 60 votes to get this bill through the Senate. That's why they have to work with Democrats on the Republican side of the aisle.
Fox's Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill. Demonstrations in the Pacific Northwest continue with increased federal law enforcement presence in some cities.
Protests in Seattle on Sunday damaged several businesses. Police said someone threw an incendiary device into the East Precinct at one point. In Portland, protesters tore down the fence surrounding the federal courthouse, which has already been vandalized, where federal law enforcement presence has also been increasing. There have been reports of protesters being whisked away in unmarked cars. Acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf didn't deny it.
As we see certain criminals take criminal acts, we're going to investigate and we're going to arrest them. And we have the authority to do that. We are not trying to escalate. We're trying to hold those folks accountable.
He told Fox and Friends Monday people can't just walk across the street and claim they're now on city and not federal property and expect no consequence.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. A white St. Louis couple who aimed their weapons at protesters outside their mansion during a racial injustice demonstration are now facing charges. Prosecutors in St. Louis say Mark and Patricia McCloskey will be charged with felony unlawful use of weapons and misdemeanor assault charges. America is listening to Fox News.
2020 has been a gut punch to American business. Wherever you are, make it
Truth Frequency Radio.
Astronauts to the moon.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Not to get off track here, but I feel like we're in the Truman Show and we're in a snow globe and they just shook it up.
Welcome to reality.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jeranism Monday Night Raw, the current, reigning, defending, without question, unarguably, and all those other things, the number one show on Truth Frequency Radio on Monday nights, 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific, 9 to 11 Eastern. Yes, Illuminati confirmed. I'm your host, Jeran from Jeranism, and joining me is my co-hosts, or my friends, my compadres, other members of the True Earth Society, starting with, deep inside the rabbit hole, Dave Weiss.
Dave, what's up? Happy Monday evening.
So excited for Monday. Happy Monday. I hope you're wearing masks, Dave, and bowing down and obeying authority and, social distancing, hating others, staying inside, fearful for your life, together at home. Which ones am I missing? Demanding
delivery. Picked up some pre-ordered cat food from PetSmart. I walked in through a sea of masked people. I walked right behind the counters. I went over to the cabinets. I took out the cases of cat food and walked out of the store. Never showed my ID, never said who I was, never said anything. And I swear I'm invisible. And then I went to the Home Depot, walked in, same thing, got what I needed, checked out. I don't even think the cameras saw me. No one said anything. I mean, I stress out, too, about it. I'm like, I'm going. I'll have to deal with this. I got all my lines prepared. I know what I'm going to say. And no one says anything to me. It's almost disappointing, but it's really not.
I have bad news for you. Why does your microphone sound like shit?
Oh, because I probably didn't even turn it on.
You sound like you're in a tin can of some sort.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. All right, let's see who else we have. We have Jason Lingren, the great, the wonderful, the fantastic.
How's that? Is that better?
Yes. Welcome to the show.
Oh, should I start over?
No, please don't. No, that was good. So the cameras can't even see you, is what you're saying.
I'm really. It was a joke when I first started saying it, but now I'm really wondering if it's a joke.
I'm hoping this whole thing is a joke. You know, somebody in the D-Live chat says they need a little laugh, and I agree that I feel like that's all we can do at this time. I just need more comedians in my lives. I need more Owen Benjamins. I need more Alex Steins. It's the way I need it.
No, not Alex Stein.
Kidding me? All right, so Jason Lingren's with us. Jason, are you there?
Well, I'll tell you what. It's awfully nice to be here. Thank you. I mean, hey, Jeran, what's up?
Who was that supposed to be?
That was my attempt at Hank Hill.
It was pretty good. I was going to guess that.
I don't know if I got my voice quite deep enough. I'll have to work on that one.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that you could do that. I'm very jealous of you now. You should just do a weekly show where you just do voices.
You said you need more comedians in your life, so I thought I'd try and make you laugh.
It was good. You did a good job. And we have your better half, Rose 777. Rose, how are you?
Hello. Good evening. And I'm your favorite wannabe comedian.
No, you're great. You keep me laughing, too. All the time.
Good.
I think it's just the passion that's so
Name
big.
one funny thing Rose has said.
Oh, she said numerous funny things, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like numerous flat Earth and globe Earth proofs.
David, did you like how I got mad at you when you said True Earth on my flat smacking? Come on, man. I'm relatively new at this. Let me have my time to be excited that I know that the Earth is flat, and now you're coming and confusing.
No, that was
everyone
awesome.
with
I really loved
thing.
it. I loved it. I tried to use True Earth for the full time, and she shut me down. But I did use it on Tinfoil Hat.
I was going to mention that. I just listened to the Tinfoil Hat episode. If you haven't had a chance to hear that, Dave did tremendously. Dave, one of your best performances ever. But I heard him drop True Earth. I felt very proud. He didn't.
Yeah, I heard that.
He didn't drop my name though. But
I didn't. Dude, that was a tough crowd to get a word in edgewise.
That's true.
It was really tough.
When they're talking kickboxing and kicks to the head, it's hard to talk flatter sometimes. But you snuck it in when you could. Yeah. Did I hear Russian Vids on the call? Russian Vids, what's up?
Jeran, how you doing, pal? Good. Thanks for asking. Also, I heard as well David's his invite to the Tinfoil Hat with Sam Tripoli and Eddie Bravo and others, and it took about 20 minutes before he can get a word in, which is hard to do with David. But he did very good, very well. He even gave Rose 777 a shout out, which was fantastic. So definitely spreading not only the flat Earth truth, but also people, of course, that are involved with flat Earth, which is nice. So people can, hey, who's this Rose 777? Let me take a look on YouTube, and that's fantastic.
Not 20 minutes, 11 minutes, 50 seconds.
No, it's 20. No, what I saw, I thought it was 20 minutes, but hey, I could be wrong.
11 minutes, 50 seconds in is where I come on.
Okay, maybe I got that wrong, but
he comes in for 10 seconds and then disappears for another 15 minutes.
Exactly. But yeah, it's their show, but they really kind of hijack it and go in different directions. But David's pretty brave, and he kind of said, wait a second, we're getting off topic. They're getting into the jokes and joking about this and that. And then David said, hey, we got to get back on this topic. I'm sitting on the sidelines here on the back burner. Let's get back on the flat Earth topic.
It was a layup. I mean, I'm not in enemy territory there. I'm talking to guys that get it. They're all on board. They had to tell one guy, all right, you be the resident skeptic and ask some questions. And he couldn't even come up with good questions.
No, because he believes in the simulation theory. So, of course, he was like, well, what am I going to say? That it fits perfectly with my theory.
You're talking about Xavier, though, right? You're talking about Xavier? Yeah. He's
They asked whoever the audio engineer is, they asked the guy behind. I know who Xavier is, XG, right?
Johnny. It's Johnny.
Yeah, but there's some guy behind the camera that they kind of asked, hey, can you be the skeptic? Can you try and ask Dave some questions or point out some things? And he says, no, I believe in the simulation theory, which is basically that the Earth will become whatever it is that I don't know how else to, that you want it to be. I guess that's his theory. And, like Eddie Bravo said, well, that's a comfortable theory for most people because you won't get attacked for it. Of course, if you ever say the Earth is a flat and level plane and doesn't spin in space, that's when you get attacked.
I kind of think that the simulation theory can kind of fit on a flat plane, like where there's a sort of simulation here on some sort of abyssal plane. For some reason, that makes sense in my head, but I don't know.
Well, if there is a simulation, doesn't there need to be a basis or a container for that simulation? In other words, there's a hardware and a software?
Exactly, Rose. It's in a flat plane.
I look at it this way, and I said this before in videos, when they talk specifically with Elon Musk saying, we live in a simulation, and the chances that we're not is 1 in a billion, this, and this. And it's funny, shortly after he says that, that's when they sent the so-called Starmen in so-called space. And what it comes down to is they're the ones running the bogus simulation. There's no simulation. They're the ones that are behind this contrived world with everything we're going through throughout history.
Absolutely. I was going to say to Rose, so say again what you just said. What you were talking about. Okay, so it has to have a container, basically, right? Or it has to exist somewhere, is what you're kind of saying.
The simulation is being implemented by something, no matter what it is. It's intelligently created within something. And I always had this problem with the globe model too, with like the expanding universe. What is it expanding into? What is the other side of the part of the expanse? It's always been a little bit difficult. It's hard for me to imagine infinity.
I draw the line at simulation because I think of this as definitely being physical. So that's where, I kind of get lost with the simulation theory because I think of that when they say, oh, it's a holodeck, oh, it's all these things. Yeah, but we feel enough to know that this is a physical existence, I would think, at least for me. I don't know how you guys feel.
I think the implication is that if it's a simulation, someone has to be doing the simulating.
You mean
that's the people running this world? They're the ones simulating,
right? Simulating news events and everything else.
I don't buy it. I don't accept it at all. The simulation theory doesn't make enough sense to me.
Create the simulation, like we're here having a physical experience, and our minds are able to create things, simulate them.
Well, it's simple as this: if they're pushing, and people like Elon Musk and these top so-called scientists. It's nonsense. It's a bunch of garbage, and they're definitely pushing it, just like deep space and aliens. So it's so very simple. If they're pushing something, it's nonsense.
So here's my final thought on this: is we're here on this physical plane having this experience, and we know that our thoughts create our reality. So our thoughts are creating the world that we're living in, and that could be described as a simulation.
Again, and I always say this, I use it as my excuse during Mandela effects, Dave, that if there was some smoke bomb went off and everybody on Earth died except for one person, that person's mental, whatever they think, wouldn't create the world. Meaning that if the one person left in the world after the smoke bomb went off lived in Japan, if that person somehow traveled to my house would still be here. It wouldn't be whatever that person dreamt was here. My house is physically here. It would be here. The pictures that are on the wall today would be here on the wall in 2 months if that person somehow traveled from Japan to here, right? Or are you saying that you think that person, if he was the one person left, could imagine that all houses in California were made of glass and then would come over here and all houses would be see-through?
Listen, don't ask me for the facts. I just have my ideas. Come on. Here's an example. Paige didn't exist before I met her. I met her at a party.
No, that's not true. She had a past.
She did not exist. Her entire memories of everything before that day, her life before, her children, everything was a construct that I imagined into this simulation, and the Earth is flat. Let's move on.
Wow, that's
you could ask Paige. She might agree with you.
I think she would agree with me, but let's not ask her. Thank you, Michael Komazi, for the very generous super chat. Hey, Jeran, love your content. What?
Sorry, go ahead.
Love the OG of Truth Russian vids as well. Be blessed. Russian vids, how do you take that moniker, the OG of Truth? It's pretty cool to know.
Well, being at this for a long time, I appreciate it. And, the thing is about me, I try to be consistent. I don't know, I'm getting reverb. But anyways, I try to be consistent and definitely, just keep at it and just keep moving forward and plugging away, looking for new things, not just, sitting back on past work. You got to keep working hard and take breaks here and there, but definitely keep digging for new information and groundbreaking stuff. That's what I'm always looking for.
Right. Okay. Dave, did you want to talk about Taboo Conspiracy? You did some good videos this week, 2 of them that I enjoyed. Of course, another laser experiment, which these pop up all the time. This one was 17 miles up in Canada along some river. And basically, you just put one person at one end, one person at the other with a camera. He was able to lower the camera all the way to about 6 inches off the water surface and pick up the source of a laser light 17 miles away. Again, if the Earth were a ball, as you've been taught and told your entire life, then you would have to be looking over a 100-foot hump, basically, to see that, which is impossible. If you see, if you've seen the Jesus Redeemer statue is that in Brazil? Boy, I was going to probably get that wrong. Wherever the Redeemer statue is, the large statue of Jesus with
I think it's in Rio. In Rio.
Rio de Janeiro, yeah.
Thank you. That's 130 feet tall. So that's the amount that person with the laser should be behind curve, and yet we're able to see it at 17 miles. So these proofs keep coming out. The other video he did was about an F-16 pilot, former F-16 pilot who wishes to remain anonymous. We know why that is, because if you come out as a pilot, as many pilots have, you can get grounded or removed from your position or whatever. But this former F-16 pilot came out and had a few examples showing that in his mind the Earth must be flat, and that's the way it's taught, of course, to all pilots. And there was also a comment that I saw earlier in Dave. Did you see that he commented on the video again, and somebody else brought up the fact of if the nose was dipping down and he's going at a certain miles per hour, that he should weigh less. And of course, he said that's not true at all. You don't weigh less. And it's more proof.
How does he know he doesn't weigh less? I mean, would you notice it a little bit?
Yeah, you should be able to notice it quite a bit, I would think. Because really, if you're pulling G's, you would feel like you weigh more, correct?
Right. So how fast? I mean, he's going at what speed? So I mean, what's his drop rate? It's a mile every 2 minutes at 500 miles an hour. So I guess he would be.
It's going 1,500 miles per hour. So
I'll read the gravity curve and make up for that difference. So as you're dropping down, the gravity is grabbing you lower and lower.
Who invited Baller Dave?
The gravity.
That guy's trouble.
Yeah, he's real trouble. It says the commenter was pointing out the fact that orbits cannot exist because a fighter pilot would feel lighter the faster he traveled due to the alleged going around the curvature claim of NASA. This was the F-16 pilot's response. He says, I have flown at Mach 2 at around 20,000 feet. Had I been, or had the jet been magically being pushed over to maintain my altitude, I would have had to have been feeling something less than 1G, thereby being a bit lighter in the seat, as you say. Boom, another flat Earth proof. Well done. So that, amongst others, I mean, the whole idea of the way that they treat craft in the distance, he was talking about, and again, go to Taboo Conspiracy 2's channel, and the video I'm talking about are the last 2 videos on his channel. But he's talking about how if you're looking off into the distance at other fighter jets, so if you're an F-16 pilot and you're trying to sweep radar and pick up other F-16 jets, that one way they teach them whether to know that a plane is above or below their current altitude is to base it off the horizon, which is if a plane is above the horizon, therefore it must be higher than you. If it is below the horizon, then it must be lower than you. So you would think that's not the way you would figure it out. You'd have to think, if you're on a globe, well, how do you know whether that plane, just because it's above the horizon doesn't mean it's above you? What if you're at 20,000 feet and the plane above the horizon is only 10,000 feet? The fact is that's impossible on a flat Earth, because what you're doing is if somebody is above the horizon and the horizon rises to your level, your eye level, then if you're at 20,000 feet looking across, seeing a plane above the horizon, that plane's not just above the horizon, but it's above your height. It's above.
Even though it'll look below you, it might look like it's below you, but it's above you.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, it makes so much sense that if the horizon rises to eye level and that plane is at the horizon level, that plane is at your eye level at the same level. It makes perfect sense.
Perfect sense, and that's the way this F-16 pilot says that they're taught and told. And imagine that that would just be wrong. That no, if you're seeing somebody above the horizon, that maybe they're below you. Not if they're taught that means they're definitely above you. It's just no way. I get it. Send a super chat and says, my beautiful girlfriend has been listing the last few days. She's listening, maybe? She started again.
Or lisping. Maybe she had a stroke.
Let's hope not. She's starting to. Yes. Dirth has a new fan, too. Garrett and Melissa in Michigan. Dave, you're getting some shout-outs here.
Oh, thank you. Welcome.
And it's actually DITRH, but that's right. You can call him Dirth, even though good luck finding that channel.
I'm kidding.
Jeran, you're talking about the pilot with the conspiracy, taboo conspiracy.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the MiG pilot in Russia with Steve-O. They're supposedly going up, and he claims on Joe Rogan's show, his podcast, that, oh yeah, I did see the curve there. I'm not sure how high it was, but I definitely saw the curve. And literally, they're showing the MiG on the ground on the tarmac. And with the fisheye lens camera, you can see it looks like it's curved, and the jet fighter hasn't even taken off yet. So it's just, of course, we know about Neil deGrasse Tyson, the famous quote about not seeing, be able to see the curve with that Felix Baumgartner jump. So you had Steve-O from Jackass. You had not only Steve-O, you had Joe Rogan on his own show, and I have a clip of him saying that he saw the curve of the Earth from an airplane. So you have all these claims, just like people saying, "Oh, I seen satellites with my own eyes," but they never ever film it and put it on YouTube. But all these claims, so that's just again going along with the programming. There's no evidence, just
yeah, that's what they've done. They've co-opted everything that we see, right? I mean, you do see in a circle. That's the only possible way. Your eyesight is the radius of a circle, so you see in a circle around you, and they've just taught the whole world that means you live on a ball.
Well, it's like UFOs. Over the years, going back, I remember back in the 80s, all the TV shows about aliens and all the UFO sightings on hard copy and all these shows, and literally all they see are lights in the sky. So they must be, according to them, they see a light in the sky, so there's this little green man flying these vehicles, and that's just, they're inventing things in their own head, and it's being put in their head, and that's the same thing with the ISS and satellites. It's put in your head, they're out there, so I see a little dot in the sky, so that's exactly what I'm seeing, even though I don't have no details at all. I just see a light, and that's how society, unfortunately, operates. They see this planet, and they just run with it, whatever's presented on TV.
It's really sad, RV. I did the same thing, actually. See, what I think is that people are so positive that they're right. They haven't looked into this stuff at all. They're so brainwashed. They really, truly know in their hearts, even though they're not, that they're right. And the same thing happened to me. I flew a Cessna once, and I remember telling people that I saw the curve of the Earth because I was too ignorant and dumb. I never even knew that you can't even see the curve of the Earth from there. But I was all full of myself and thought I was so cool that I had flown an airplane that I felt totally comfortable basically lying. And I think the same thing is going on with COVID right now, with people just making shit up and saying, oh, I know someone that died of COVID, because they're so sure it's real and they just want to be relevant and part of it all. And it's really sad and disgusting, and it's embarrassing to mention, but it's true. And I really think it's important for people to come forward and admit when they lied, even if it takes a couple years for them to realize that they were lying, because it's just they're just so brainwashed, and they just truly believe that they're fighting for the right thing, and so they're in an odd way like self-justifying it.
Yeah, Rose, honesty is the best policy. What you said there about embellishing or maybe lying about seeing the curve, of course, or not maybe lying. Yeah, but the thing is, it's just like all these events, from 9/11 to the skull in Connecticut, all these other events. You talk to people and you say, it's basically these events are hoaxes, and they'll say, I know someone, how dare you? I have a friend that died. You heard it so many times. I had someone challenge me on social media, like, how dare you? I know someone, and I'm gonna let them know. I'm gonna bring them over and tell them that you said that. I said, bring him over. This is regarding Boston, and the guy just, after I challenged him back, he blocked me, and that was the end of it. Because he thought he was calling a bluff, and I called him on his bluff, and he blocked immediately after that. So yeah, a lot of people, again, they want to be part of the big story, just like COVID, just like everything else. This is the big story. It's like a fad, just like breakdancing, or just like the ice bucket challenge. If it's a big story, people want to be embedded. They want to have their avatar on Facebook or Twitter with the mask, stay at home, or whatever the current big thing is. They just want to be part of it,
Right. A nurse.
By the way, let's get something very clear. As far as the curve, the supposed curve, all mainstream sources say you cannot see it until you hit the Kármán line. And guess what? You'll never be able to do without a rocket.
Hit the Kármán line.
No average person can get up to the Kármán line. You're not doing it.
Right.
Kind of convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, it fits well with exactly what they want. All their stuff is convenient, right? It's just the same thing. Like, as far as we can see, pretty much with the human eye, with the atmosphere, is going to be, 100, 150 miles. Can you see 175? Yeah, if you're looking over the ocean and the sun sets behind Mount Canigou or something like that, yeah, you can see 175. You're pretty much not going to see 200, 250, 300. It's just there's too much atmosphere in the way. And that just coincides perfectly with the distance that they say, that we can't see. Of course, even seeing 175 miles is proof that the curvature isn't correct, because that should be 2 miles behind the curve. So again, it's always very convenient for their numbers. And same thing with seeing over, Lake Michigan. Yeah, we can say we're not supposed to see those buildings. They're able to see them, and they say, yeah, well, you see them, but you only see the top half, so you don't see the bottom half. But you're like, yeah, but you're missing the point. The point is, according to your globe, I shouldn't see them at all.
Yeah. It's also, again, getting back to the social programming, it reminds me of this basically experiment they did with a bunch of younger adults. They round them up into this one room and supposedly giving them beer and seeing how they interact with each other. Just a social experiment, drinking beer. And they're all acting crazy and goofy, just doing stupid things. They're being filmed. Then after it was all done and concluded, they were told that was non-alcoholic beer. And they all just looked at each other like this stupid look, like they just basically, went along to, it tastes like beer. I'm getting drunk. And this is society in general. Just this, just going along with the program and preconceived notions. And really, literally, I look at adults now as time goes on, doing so much, being involved with truth for so long. I look at adults as basically just grown-up children. That's what they are. So easy so gullible, so easy to deceive. That's really what's happening.
You know why everyone's wearing masks is because everyone's wearing masks.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, here's one thing I read real quick, not to go on too long, is I did see this report on Yahoo News that this one store in the South called Winn-Dixie, unless I guess it's mandatory by the county, the district, they are not imposing wearing masks. So definitely support stores like that, Winn-Dixie, and other stores like Walmart and Publix. They're basically making it mandatory. So don't give your money to these stores, and don't shop there, and give your money to stores like Winn-Dixie. Definitely shop there and boycott these other garbage stores.
We shop
the
there, actually. That's one of the stores we can go to.
Fantastic.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Ann, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have hard water, the Live Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Lime Scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
He was the deputy director of MI6. Britain's most senior diplomat. He was knighted by the Queen and in charge of thousands of highly trained spies. But he was also a member of the Paedophile Information Exchange. He had 45 diaries full of sex fantasies with children. His friend was the private secretary of Margaret Thatcher. He strangled a child and hit another with his car. He raped young boys and organized orgies with children for other politicians.
The Enigma Channel, intelligent television for planet Earth. EnigmaTV.com.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Thank you guys for joining us wherever you might be, whether it's YouTube or D-Live. We do appreciate it, or on Truth Frequency Radio, wherever you might be. We've got Russian Vids here joining us, Dave Weiss, we've got Rose 777, and Jason. Everybody's here. Guys, anything new in the lockdown world where you're at? Is it getting disgusting like it is here in California? Or are you guys doing any better? Oh, I guess RV is in California. So, how about you guys? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you know how it is in California is it's pretty bad, and California is like I don't know how to put it. It's just a state that's like it sticks out like a sore thumb, and they're of course the liberal capital of the U.S. literally, specifically San Francisco. Just real bad and very sheepish. Liberals, like I said, I talked about it before with liberals and conservatives. Conservatives, they're on the, as far as Republicans, they're, still stuck in the false paradigm, but they're much easier to cross over, of course, to truth. Where liberals on the far left, they're just so, after a certain point, someone's a liberal, 20, 25 years old, they're so far gone, you can forget them. So it's really difficult to, any information you try to share with these people, you can forget, and they just comply when it comes to anything that's thrown their way. They don't question anything. And I've talked to many liberals about things like this, and I asked them things like, have you ever questioned anything presented in the mainstream media? Give me one thing presented by the mainstream media that you question. They give me always a deer in headlights look, and that's the same thing with COVID for sure.
I don't know. I don't think liberals are that indoctrinated. I mean, I've seen them recently bowing down and kissing the feet of black people. This seems like smart decisions. I don't know.
What do you guys think of the? A lot of people are reporting on it. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know about the test where where they stick that swab all the way up to the base of your brain, where there's the thinnest layer between your brain and the outside of your brain.
No,
And
that's not how the human anatomy works. It's not touching your brain.
Looks
like it is on a graph, maybe.
Occipital
But it is
node
painful.
or something, and it's touching the highest part of your sinus area, and there's a very, very thin bone there that's more like a tissue, and it's poking that, and people say it's painful. People say they've lost their taste, their sense of smell and taste, and they're theorizing.
So you mean COVID symptoms, David?
Well, everything's a COVID symptom.
COVID. David, real quick, David. David, real quick. I know what you're talking about. I saw people doing these the drive up, testing, and they stick this swab, and this looks like a skewer type length Q-tip. They're jamming in people's noses. No way in hell would I allow this, and who knows what they're putting in there? Of course.
So hang on. So
go ahead.
the first part of my question
Sure.
was, some are theorizing that it's nanotech, whatever. They're just putting it is part of the vaccination. They're already putting that in you, priming you for whatever. That's one thought. And then the other thing is, we're told we have to wear face masks because our spittle can get somebody sick. They do a DNA test on you. They just take a swab of the saliva inside your cheek. How come we can't just spit into a test tube and go, here, test that?
That's the thing, David. They don't even need to. You can make up all these theories about them putting stuff in there, and of course, I would never put it again. I would never hold it past them. I'm sure that they could. However, this is like it's part of the ritual, and it's very traumatic. And anyone who's had a swab before in the hospital, before any of this even began, it is not fun. It's very, it's like a sadistic act. And it's crazy how these nurses, they're just like, okay, well, we have to do it. It doesn't make any sense. They will always do that when they want to test you for MRSA in the hospital. And by the way, you can pretty much only get MRSA from the hospital. So it's all, as RV would say, garbage.
100% Rose. One thing I'll throw in too is, what really kills me about all this, and no pun intended, with all this nonsense with COVID, is you have a fake outbreak and you have all these fake, phony, baloney nurses and doctors presenting themselves on social media as heroes. Like I've seen these banners on Facebook where, they have all these superheroes that are bowing down to a nurse or doctor walking through the hallway like they're the true superheroes. I'm like, give me a break completely, because there's no outbreak. There's nothing. And people that are dead asleep will say, well, all these doctors can't be wrong. And again, it's just like the CDC passing off Florida safe. All the dentists just go along with the program. This is what the government literature says. This must be the truth, and we're going to go with it. And that's the same thing here. And of course, if you're a doctor that goes against the grain, you're going to run into a lot of issues with your practice, lose your license, and so forth. So there's many things, many factors, intangibles that people do not put in the mix to come to conclusions. They just assume.
People don't understand how indoctrinating the education system is, and so they get very confused when you have people out there, Dr. Kaufman and others, questioning germ theory. The general response is, well, that can't possibly be true because all these doctors believe in germ theory, and if they all believe in it, it must be true, right? They don't get it at all. All those doctors went through the medical system. They all went through the education system. They all spent 8 years in medical school learning these things, and so they have no choice. And again, if you question those things, you'll get fired. Daniel Hobbs says, Jeran, can you elaborate on your thoughts about people passing sickness viruses to each other? Elaborate on my thoughts. He's probably talking about, that's been coming up a lot lately. And I don't know how you guys feel, but I've just been thinking back, and I don't remember my mom ever getting sick from taking care of my sister or I when I had the flu. So I am really starting to question, germ theory. I'm not positive anymore that we get each other sick, not like we were taught.
Jeran, I want to jump in here. This is so important, and I'm going to maybe divulge a little bit too much. I've never said this before, but I'm one of 15. Okay, I'm one of 15 kids. And I had the flu very bad when I was young. And I, of course, got past it. And nobody got the flu from me. I was bedridden for 2 weeks. Literally, I was lying in the, to make it easy for me, because I was pretty weak at the time when I was very young. I would just sleep on the couch in the living room. And nobody got sick. No one, it didn't pass to anybody else. Large family, no one else got sick. You know,
yeah, but RV, is that because you guys were socially distancing?
In that house, yeah.
Hey, I'm not even joking. I have a very vivid memory. I remember I was in middle school. They're having G.I. Joe cartoons and He-Man, and everybody's in the living room. And I'm like, half dead on the couch. Everybody's just, on the other couches, not too far off, watching He-Man. And they're, enjoying it while I'm, half dead, on the couch. So yeah, that's my experience. Again, a large family, and no one contracted the flu from me. So that's just a personal experience that I can say. And it was a very severe flu. I've never been sick prior like that, and after, I've never been sick like that ever again. It just happened the one time.
Yeah, so I mean, I know a lot of people have grown up believing that, and I did too, and this is what we're taught, to be afraid of other people. And I just think, really, when somebody says, is this just a conspiracy? Well, yeah, it is. The Rockefeller-funded, the way that they get rich is off of the medical system the way it is. If it was instead teaching you how to care for yourself, eat better food, eat fruits and vegetables, then nobody can make money off of that. And so this is, entire problem. So
I said that, and I said it a billion times. I'll say it a billion more. 46, never been in the hospital in my life. Even when I had the flu when I was younger, really bad, never been in the hospital for anything. And of course, like you just said, hospitals don't make money off healthy people. That simple. And they scoff at any kind of natural remedy. And I said it before, where I did go to a Chinese clinic, a local Chinese clinic, herbal, type of things, teas and these kind of remedies. And they said it flatly, pun intended, that these things, they do work, but they take time. But society is brainwashed. They want instant results. These things, just like anything else, you want to go to the gym and get in good shape. Well, it's not going to happen if you do it 2 or 3 times and that's it. It's got to be continuous, just like anything, eating healthy foods. You cannot eat junk for, say, 20, 30 years and then just expect to take some good, healthy stuff and, all of a sudden be in the road to recovery in 2 or 3 days. It's got to be a lifestyle type thing. And of course, a lot of people, they, their whole life, they eat garbage. Then they claim, I became a vegetarian, I got sick. Well, how many years were you eating garbage that you became a vegetarian? So you got to, lay it all out, and it's not always so simple. But again, not to get too far off topic, definitely.
RV, can I challenge you on that? Does anyone mind if I challenge RV on this?
Challenge him.
RV, you said that you've said this 1 billion times.
Yep.
So if you said it 1 billion times and it only took you 2 seconds to say it each time, which nothing takes you 2 seconds, that would be 62 years if you didn't sleep, eat, or do anything else.
David,
would you like to revise the number?
David, don't do math.
Would you like to? That's how NASA has tricked us into everything. People don't do math; they hear the numbers, they go, "Ooh, trillion, billion, nice, fun."
Yeah,
RV, I think you sold it 500 times.
Yeah, I'm just embellishing a little bit with the 1 billion times. Literally, I didn't have 1 billion videos, 1 billion podcasts, so it's impossible to say it 1 billion times. But you get the drift. Right. I kind of, it's just it's just a references. How I've said it countless times. I'll just say that, and maybe you'll give me a hard time about saying that. Talking about giving someone a hard time, why don't you give those guys a hard time on the tinfoil hat conspiracy about voting? Why don't you tell them, hey, I would have jumped in. So what are you guys talking about? Votes and votes counting. You just sat back and let them talk about votes are legit.
Hard to get you know what? I wanted to say something, but it was difficult to get a word in. Yeah. I did the best that I could, man. That's it.
Yeah. I'm out of here. Especially since you weren't in the room with them, David. That makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
I'll give you a pass this time. Don't let it happen again, though.
On the TV there.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
I have a story from the Spanish flu days. My great-great-grandmother, Minnie, she died of the Spanish flu, supposedly. But here's the thing. My great-grandmother, Nani, She said goodbye to her mother. She kissed her goodbye when she went to school. And by the time she came home, my great-great-grandmother was dead, and they already took her body away. That's how quickly whatever it was that killed her. However, my great-grandma lived to be over 100, and so did my great-great-grandfather. So how is it that they're kissing and hugging each other goodbye, and then one of them dies of this crazy contagious disease? It doesn't make sense.
Maybe she had a vaccine. No, probably not. Yeah, no, and RV is exactly right with the whole, if you have a headache, the one thing your body's not asking you for is, an Advil, a Tylenol, or an Excedrin, right? But people want instant results. They want to instantly feel better, and that's the whole problem. That just hides the symptoms. I think that goes on a lot. But what you guys were talking about earlier, it's so funny. I got in trouble the last couple of days because there were some callers on a show I was on that said, one guy called in and said that he had corona. Another girl called in and said her dad died of corona, and I took the position that both of them were lying. That didn't go over well with some people, but tough shit because, the stories these guys are telling, I told David earlier, one guy called in and said he's like 75 years old. He had corona. Of course, we asked him, well, were you tested for it or what happened? And no, I didn't get tested. I knew I had it, though, because I went on an 8-mile hike, he said, and when he got home, he had blisters on his toes, and he looked it up and found out that they're called COVID toes. Have you guys heard of this yet? COVID toes?
COVID toes.
Do a research. You search that on Google and have some fun laughing at that. So yeah, now that is a new thing. You have COVID toes, and this guy goes on and on about how he knew he had it. He didn't have to get tested because he went on YouTube and found some people going through their symptoms, and he had the same symptoms like shortness of breath and a cough. So now, these guys, and I just told the guy it's bullshit. Then everything that anybody's ever had, and we can talk to all you guys have been sick in the last year, and all of your symptoms matched COVID symptoms. Therefore, you have the other girl called and said that her father had COVID rash. Another one, if you haven't heard of that one, I kid you not. Now there's COVID rash.
That's a new one.
Yes. So COVID toes, COVID rash. These are all some of the dangerous side effects. It's coming for you. It's coming for you. It's coming for you.
By the way, the shortness of breath has nothing to do with the fact that the dude is 500 pounds. It's summer, wearing a mask, waddling around Walmart, guzzles a gallon of soda or two every day, and eats GMO food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and every snack can be between. It has nothing to do with any of that.
Much like some blisters on your feet have nothing to do with you being 70 years old and hiking 8 miles. That has nothing to do with it. So, I'm 40. If I went and hiked 8 miles, I think I'd have a few blisters on my feet. Doesn't mean that I have COVID. And of course, the new thing is, you become very clumsy. Have you guys heard that one? They're just adding anything that anybody's ever said that they felt. These things all get added, and people buy it. And as far as this girl calling and saying that her dad died of corona, her dad was like, she wouldn't give the exact age, that he's between 70 and 80. He died in a New York hospital. Of course, her story didn't make much sense. She said she went in there and they wouldn't let her in the hospital. But then she described pulling the sheet off of his face and seeing how terrible he looked after he died. So I guess the story you have to believe is she wasn't allowed in the hospital because he had corona, but she was allowed in the hospital after he died. But again, then I said, well, my mom died in November from a massive heart attack. Heart failure. She dropped dead on her kitchen floor. Again, if this would have happened 3 or 4 months later, I'm sure they would have taken her in, done an autopsy, and said she had corona, and then I'd be that person saying, no, guys, my mom died of corona, and therefore it's real, even though my mom died of a massive heart attack. And this is what happens to people. This is why we don't have people in the world that are 130, 140, 160, 210, 325 years old. Why? Because they all have a story about why they died. And again, if the news told the story of that every day, and the news, gave us the details of every car accident every day, people would flip out. Why? Because there's thousands of accidents every day, and there's hundreds or thousands of deaths every day. And if you looked at those in Florida and said, well, Florida's spiking in car accidents this week, and next week it went up, and then this week it went down, and there's going to be a second wave coming of all these people that are going to die from car accidents, then we'd be tripping out about car accidents. So pretty crazy if you ask me, but pretty obvious what's going on. And I don't know when it's going to stop. I don't know how people are going to wake up to this, especially because Russian, talk about how there's these other countries that supposedly have 0 deaths. I've heard you talk about it. I haven't looked it up yet, but didn't you say like Hong Kong has like 0 or something? What is going on with that? RV. Russian bits. Did we lose everybody on the call? Is anybody still here?
I'm here. Oh, Russian left.
He's gone.
RV left.
Oh, have you, Dave? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, there
He
back.
goes. RV will tell you.
Sorry about that. My mic went out for some reason. Kind of strange. Yeah. What like I was saying last time is, I was looking, near the, near China and looking at the results there. And again, Vietnam, I said it last time, Vietnam has nearly 100 million people. They're on the direct border with China, of course. There's a lot of influx of, going back and forth between China and Vietnam, and there are 0 coronavirus deaths. Laos on the border as well, 0. Cambodia, 0. Mongolia, of course, huge border with China, and they have 0 coronavirus deaths. So, yeah, they're not participating in this obvious scam, this hoax. And, in Australia, the numbers are low. So it's just it's like this. All these events that we cover, they never add up. They never make sense. We point things out to people. It's always ignored, just like the ridiculous, moon landing that we're pointing out the lander, how ridiculous it looks. No matter how ridiculous it is, if the media says it's real, they're just going to justify it, rationalize it, and that's just how it works. And I think Eddie Bravo said it really good, that one with David Weiss and Sam Tripoli and the rest, where he's given up trying to explain things to people that, just buy whatever the media says, because it's literally hopeless. They're just programmed. And the people that are programmed, they don't even know the program, even though you tell them they're programmed, and that's how powerful. And this is what I always call the people that run this world. They're like evil geniuses. They know exactly how the human mind works. They know exactly what tools to use against the people. And of course, fear sells, and everybody's buying except those that are awake.
Eddie pointed out that he has all these MMA schools, and that is the absolute worst possible business to be in if COVID was a real thing, because guys are sweating, grappling, spitting, bleeding on each other constantly, and they've had 0 cases. Yeah. He's got I forget how many schools he has, but they have 0
over 100 cases. He said, David, over 100. Yep. One thing I'll mention
he's
too.
petrified that they're all going to go out of business because he's, this is killing him.
Well, one thing I've always done throughout the years, investigating things, whenever things happen, they come up, I always look at the little subtleties that do not make sense, or, looking ahead, looking back as well. One thing that really struck me when this all started, and I said it before, all these people in China supposedly doing face plants, dead people in the street, people walking right past them. You see no one doing nosedives and dying here in the U.S. and all this stuff that happened supposedly in China. And the big thing is this: what really caught my suspicion right away. Of course, the big news that really started the fear in the fear campaign in the public here in the U.S. is with Rudy Gobert and the NBA shutting down the whole season. People literally freaked. And here's the thing: is if this COVID coronavirus, you're worried about, because initially at that time it was just literally starting here in the U.S. supposedly. Well, according to the people running this scam. And the thing is this: in a real life situation, in reality, you'd be conservative. You would suspend the season. We're going to be precautious. We're gonna take a few weeks off. Let's see where this goes. But for them to suspend the season was total overkill at that point in time. I'm like, what are they doing? And of course, Trump announces stopping flights from Europe. So, all these things are happening. You saw that they're really pushing this fear campaign in the public. And, and one thing I found very interesting is, while this is all going on in the NFL, they're signing, players to big contracts. I'm looking ahead wow. So it looks like these NFL teams are not too concerned to spend all this money, because during this time period, there's a point where they're going to open up the NFL season. So everything's kind of mapped out by the way things are corresponding with the closure of the whole entire NBA season. And again, the football players being signed to these big contracts, Tom Brady specifically with Tampa Bay. So it coincides with their script, these little subtleties dealing with sports and other things as well.
Dave, what percentage of people do you think wear masks versus the percentage who don't at this point in the game?
It depends on where you are. I only know where I am. And Paige, what percentage of the people here wear masks when they go out in public?
99
plus percent.
So, I mean, it's funny because I'm seeing so much stuff on the mainstream media as if this is a big battle between masks and non-mask wearers. And we understand that from our position, right? Because we are the ones saying, don't wear a mask. We don't wear a mask. This is why. We don't want to be sick. But really, I'm like, why is this such a big deal in the mainstream if they've already won? It's essentially a win for them. I mean, they've got 99% of people doing what they say, and there's a very, very tiny percentage of us not. Is anybody else noticing that, or am I off on that?
I don't know. It's just it's people are wearing masks. They're just wearing them because everyone else is wearing them. And we went out. We actually had dinner out last night. We went in the first time we went to a restaurant that we like going to since this whole thing started. They had like a quarter of the amount of tables. When you sit at your table, it's got like you're sectioned off with things that block you from seeing other tables. So you're alone. You're alone.
Partitions, David.
Yeah, partitions. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you, RV.
You're welcome.
Have a reduced menu, like a smaller menu.
Nope, they have full menu, and one of the waitresses, she's wearing like a scarf little bandana like that you can see through. Okay, and I'm like, good for her. I'm thinking, but it also triggered me. I'm like, why are you even wearing it? Why are you doing this? There was a big sign on the door. Everyone must wear masks. We walked right in, got to our table. No one said anything.
Oh, so you didn't wear your beekeeper suit?
No, I wasn't wearing. I have not even taken that out yet. I'm just gonna have that in my car if I need it.
I got to show people that. I don't think they've seen
it. One thing I'll say is though,
I want to put a sign on the top of it, a big FU.
Yeah. Well, one thing though, I don't hold the stores accountable. I don't
speak up, Paige. Hold on, Garvey. You have to stop it. Paige is making a cameo. First time.
Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
First ever.
Hello, everybody. I had an experience. I went to Massachusetts last week to visit family.
Massachusetts.
There are a lot of mask holes up there. And I remarked to my cousin as we were walking around, and she's pretty woke, which was a wonderful surprise. But Massachusetts is very democratic. And we were walking around, and it seemed that more people than in Connecticut had masks on. At least around here, people wear masks everywhere in retail establishments. But when they're biking or walking or chatting with their friends, they seem to not have a mask on, at least outside. But in Massachusetts, I couldn't find anybody on a bike or walking or on the beach that didn't have a mask on. I said to my cousin, I said, wow, you can really see who watches TV all the time around here. She said, no. She said, that's how you tell who the Democrats are.
Wow.
Just this mask stuff is ramping up because it's an election. It's due to the election, and people are choosing their sides, and the mask is a way to show what side you're on.
Yeah, they need to create this division. They need to keep talking about it on television because remember, this isn't a law, so they need the people to continue self-enforcing it, and they're going to do that through that division. Everyone needs to pick a team.
But that's what they always do. That's the same playbook they've been doing for a zillion years.
Well, like everything else that's happened, there's predictive programming, and of course we've seen all the footage with the Dr. Creep or Mr. Creep song about the coronavirus body stacking. We've seen the TV shows with Ice Cube talking about the monkey flu and how it's basically doesn't exist, and that's what it comes down to, the predictive programming. One last thing, and I'll continue after the break.
Let Rush continue after the break. It calls in now if you want.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
Another coronavirus relief package in the works. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. President Trump says he's working with congressional leaders on a fourth round of COVID-19 economic aid.
Among the items that will likely end up in the Republican proposal, federal money as an incentive for schools to reopen, more money for vaccine research and production, and a payroll tax cut, giving workers an additional 6.2% in their weekly take-home pay. While there will be money for vaccines and treatments, there was no talk of more federal money to expand testing. President Trump has maintained the reason that the United States has so many cases of coronavirus now is because we're doing so much testing.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. President Trump today announcing he's resuming White House coronavirus task force briefings tomorrow. The president stopped the briefings in April. Coronavirus deaths in the U.S. are nearing 141,000. More than 3.8 million cases have been confirmed across the country. Some congressional Democrats are asking FBI Director Christopher Wray to brief them on what they believe are foreign attempts to influence the election.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, and House Intelligence Committee Chair Adam Schiff are among those who say the effort is intended to spread disinformation ahead of Election Day. They ask for a classified briefing for all members of Congress and that it be given before members recess next month. The intelligence community has speculated that foreign nations may try to influence the general election as they attempted to in 2016.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Chicago's mayor is rejecting any suggestion to dispatch federal agents to the city, and President Trump is threatening to do just that. The war of words between Mayor Lori Lightfoot and the president come after dozens of shootings in Chicago that left at least 12 dead and a protest that turned violent between demonstrators and police. America is listening to Fox News.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network. We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
On the weekday, don't be surprised, don't be surprised. Walk like us. They even talk like us. Walk like us. But they are not like us. On the weekday, you can see the signs, you can see the signs. They wear the disguise. Look into the mind's eye. There's nowhere to hide. Across the covered lines. Whispers from afar.
All right, welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Jeranism RAW, the only known cure to COVID-19. RV, you were speaking before the break. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And about predictive programming, which I really specialize in covering throughout the years. And every single main, big news story, of course, throughout the years has always had a case of predictive programming, some more cases than others, but definitely when it comes to this so-called outbreak, one thing I really spotlight that's gone under the radar is that Dr. Agus on CBS News, when he talks about Ebola, was it back in 2014 or 2015? He goes on, of course, we all know, he talks about flat Earth, and we know Ebola, it can spread because the Earth is flat. And he said it a couple times, 2 or 3 times during that segment with CBS. But he also said a huge thing. Ebola is one of many viruses to come and there's going to be more to come in the future. So they're literally telling us, they give us these truths in plain sight about the flat earth, which is, a little Easter egg. And of course, they're telling us, just like I play this video regarding George Floyd. I remember back early April in San Francisco, they're boarding up all of these stores. This is when COVID was, starting to really ramp up. But they're boarding up like all these major stores all over San Francisco, the not industrial, but the business sections, Market Street, all this. And I'm like, I had a title of a video, and it was called "A Storm Is Coming." And I'm like, they're boarding up all these stores. This is obviously not to prevent, the spread of a virus. They're expecting something big. And sure enough, was it a month and a half later, you had the whole George Floyd incident take place, and definitely these big businesses, it's all, again, they're just showing us, they're telling us. And the funny thing is, when that footage was played with them boarding up of all these businesses, there was no commentary. They're just showing it, and just showing all. It was about a minute 20-second video showing all these stores being boarded up. They're literally putting it out there in our faces, and again, nothing's hidden.
No, another super chat from the Level Earther. By the way, great video. Tom Hanks says, "Shame on you, Jeran. How dare you? How dare you have your own opinion? It's not okay to believe in freedom, nor flat Earth." What a joke! Thank you for that. Yes.
Hey, did you guys see Greg Reese's new video?
No. What did he do it on?
So he did a piece out, a Corona piece, and one of the things he pointed out is the lockdowns are, each state is choosing their own lockdowns, but a bunch of states, including the state of Washington, has the new restrictions going until November 5th, the day after Election Day. So just adding on to what page.
Yeah, one thing to mention too, to jump in again, like I always do, is there's so much to cover. Is we should talk about definitely the so-called shortage of coins. Like out of nowhere, all of a sudden, like laundromats are giving you like $120 for like $150, in change, or vice versa, I should say. But they're giving you more in cash for change. So it's like they're really pushing this through the media. Then of course the laundromats freak out. Now they're going along with it. There's no real shortage, of course. And what they're going to do is obviously, like I said, we all know for years and years, they want to eliminate currency, but it looks like they're going to eliminate the coins first. Then the currency will be the last to go before we go into the cashless society.
Yeah, because if you have no change, then it kind of convinces people, well, it's better to just use your card. Of course, you're being tracked with every single thing you buy, no matter what, when you use a card. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about cash. People fail to realize. I mean, they're all talking about, Bitcoin is anonymous. No, cash is anonymous.
One thing that I suggest people do, and I'm doing it, if I go into a local business and they say they don't take cash, I let them know that I'm not. I'd say, I'm sorry, then I can't buy any of this because I want to use cash, and I walk out. They're struggling for business. They're just going along to get along. And if we don't support them and let them know that we're going to go to their competitors that are taking cash, maybe they'll stop.
But David, you have to understand, this is setting the tone. Where again, it's already a new world order here, as we all know. They're all these so-called sovereign nations are working together. But what it comes down to, it comes to the point where they do set up this new world order. There's no escape from their system. Unless you live completely off grid and you barter, they're basically trapping us in a corner like a bunch of rats, like in a sinking ship type of thing.
I'm aware.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just really emphasizing that this is, okay for now, but later on, literally, it's like you're gonna have a choice. You have a choice to go along with this new world order system, or literally, you're literally screwed. And this is why on myself, I grow a lot of my own stuff. And that's one thing about, like, for example, HOAs. A lot of them, they don't allow like fruit trees. They don't allow you to garden. There's a lot of that going on. Literally, people are slaves at work. Then you come home, you're a slave to your HOA, where they dictate what you can and can't do. And one thing is gardening. You know, they don't want you planting any fruit trees. They make the excuse of, it attracts rats. The fruits will attract rats. So all these excuses. But again, it's an extension of the government with all these HOAs. So what I'm saying is, what I'm getting at is they're ramping it all down. Where literally, slowly but surely, everybody's gonna be slaves. Obviously.
Harvey, let me ask you a question about, and I agree with you for the most part that elections are completely fake. But doesn't it look like this year that they're really trying to make Trump out to be the bad guy? Trump is against masks. He says that the coronavirus is going to disappear. He says that, hydroxychloroquine works, and so the news has to come out. Doesn't it look like to you that at the very least, if elections are fake, they're gearing up for a change at the guards? Do you think that they've had their use of Trump and they're going to be going in another direction now?
Yeah, I really believe. I mean, it's really hard to, you got to almost expect the unexpected, but it sure looks that way. But we have to wait and see. I'm never like firm on like what they're going to do exactly, but they can flip flop. If everybody's going in one direction, they say, "Oh, Trump. There's no way Trump could be reelected." All these celebrities come out and say he's not going to be reelected. Like for sure, expect him to be reelected. That type of thing. Because remember, with the Hillary versus Trump. Going back, all these celebrities came out and said there's no way in hell Trump will be elected. Like there's like 20, 30 of them. And of course, they did a complete swerve and he's elected. So getting back on topic with your question.
Well, real quick on that, because I've always thought that the point of that was to make people again believe in the election system, right? So if people were starting to think that it wasn't real, then you have all these celebrities come out and say Hillary's definitely going to be president. And then you've got the vote. And then all of a sudden, oh, wow, it was actually Trump, which would remind basically everyone the importance of voting. Look what happened. Some people didn't show up. Everybody thought Hillary was going to win, but it actually ended up being Trump because people came out and voted for him. So it just reconfirms the idea that your vote does count. That's how I see it.
Votes never counted. It's funny. I've played videos over the years where like you have some big name politicians, one right in front of the White House before the election, Peter King. This is prior to the the last Bush that was a so-called president. And, during election, they say, oh, this is all wrapped up. He goes, what do you mean? This is during an interview. He goes, how do I know? Because we count the votes. And literally they tell us the truth in plain sight where again, people could cast their vote. It doesn't mean anything. Who's you just go through the process to make it all look legit. But to me, anybody that really believes, they got to say, I mean, literally, they're fooling us at every angle. They're lying about everything. Now they're going to give the sheep they're lying to about everything. Oh, they're going to have the power to really put someone and have to say who's going to be president. That's absolutely ridiculous to believe that notion.
Yeah, I tend to think
give us the opportunity to say who's president, not buying it.
I think the only part I might buy about it is it might be possible for them to allow people to vote, but the two choices are obviously selected for them. So, the maximum that I'll give them. I'm certainly not going to give them like we're allowed to pick whoever we want. Obviously, I mean, people like Kanye West coming out saying he's going to run for president or Roseanne Barr. Obviously, these ones will never. That's not how it works. It's not how the game's played. It's not how the game is rigged. The game is rigged for these rich, powerful people who have politicians and different groups in their pocket, corporations behind them. That's who has a chance to actually become president. Of course, whether or not that's selected for you, obviously, I think those two we've seen. I mean, Clinton and Trump are friends, right? So I mean, they're both in that club. Yeah. They put them both up in front of you and then give you the illusion of choice.
One thing I'll throw in too is I really need to say this. People. Again, I might say something that's controversial here like usual, but I can see this is, again, going to be kind of like people are going to take this the wrong way, and I know, but that's okay because I just speak what I think. I see how the elite look at the public and don't have respect. I'm hearing some reverb. And how they don't have respect for the public. Why should we give these idiots that believe anything we tell them, any type of say, they have zero respect for the general public. And I hate to say, but the public almost deserves what they get. They're just so dumbed down and just go along for anything. So I myself, I look at, just like the so-called the elite look at the public. I have no respect for them. They're so gullible and they just go along with anything they're told and mindless. I mean, they might know the profession. For example, if you're a welder, whatever you do for a living, you work in office, you might be well versed in what you do, but Then you turn around, you have your nice car, your nice home. You sit down and watch TV. You believe whatever's told. You open up the newspaper, the Wall Street Journal. You just believe everything that's told. And that's society. It's so again, they have no respect for society. I don't either.
We have another super chat from Daniel Hobbs. Says masks equal vax equals mark of the beast. Cashless society, no buying or selling without the mark. Yeah, I mean, many people brought that up, right? I mean, the masks, credit cards, Apple Pay, scannable barcodes, it's all part of the beast system. Tracking, I mean, even the barcode itself has 666. Which is
people are getting the chips in their hands, and the more I think about it, they're putting that laser on your forehead, like a marksman, putting a laser dot on you. That's a mark on your forehead. I don't like it.
Didn't think about that. You are right. All right, if you guys want to call in, 213-233-3998. Again, 213-233-3998 if you have a question for RV, Jason, Rose, Dave, myself. Call in. Dave, do we miss anything else before we need to get to calls? I thought we had a lot to talk about, but I think we talked too much.
I think we covered it. But think about that. That's a laser light, an infrared light going on your pineal gland, on your third eye.
So you mean like temperature gun? Great. The one thing that I said, you mean like the temperature gun?
Yeah, the temperature gun. It's shooting an infrared light at your third eye.
Yeah, it's like the one thing that I said I was okay with. Now I'm not okay with that. I was trying to get
before I'll do that.
Before you'll get a laser on your head?
No, I'm kidding.
No, I know. I get what you're saying, but that's the one thing I gave him. Like the one thing I'll give the crumb. Like, all right, if you want to check my temperature before I go on a plane, or you want to check my temperature before I go into a restaurant, I'll allow it. And now I'm not even going to allow that. So,
hey,
as outcast as I ever was.
Alex's TrueTube, TROO.tube. I told him that he needs a search feature on there. I think it's already up, or it's going up, and also to put playback speeds up to 3x on there. He's putting them in at 0.25 intervals. So he'll put whatever we want on there. The site's getting better and better.
Yeah, it's awesome. True.tube, people, check it out. Watch yesterday's Glowbuster-ish show if you want to hear us show it and talk about it. True.tube, you can also click on the left-hand side for a list of channels, and every possible channel you can imagine that is a truth channel or a flat earth channel is there. And it saves all of our videos, at least for now, in perpetuity. So
even the ones that YouTube deleted are on there.
Correct. So if I put up videos and I've had probably, 30 or 40 deleted, most of them I saved in time, but if I didn't, or if you want to find them, go there, check out the list, and you'll find videos that have been deleted from everyone's channel. Gerardo Oliva said, just got here, but it's for you. Best show ever. Best people ever. At least I know I'm all right in the world if you are all here as well. That's the way I feel a lot. That's why we have this show. Let's see here if we've got any calls. Let's try the 860. You've been on hold the longest. Welcome to the show.
It's Connecticut.
Got that right, yeah. 860. You have been on hold for 95 minutes. Wait a second. 95 minutes.
No, 33 minutes.
60 plus 75. That'd be impossible that you're on hold for this show because the show didn't start 95 minutes ago. Sorry. How about, are you there? Caller? 860? I just heard you make some sounds. Going once, going twice. Gone. Let's try Mr. Daniel in Quebec. How are you, sir? Thanks for joining the show. Keep it quick this evening if you could.
Hey, doing good about you.
Great, thank you.
Am I always long?
No, you're always actually pretty perfect, so let's keep it that way. Just don't go longer. Don't think you get more. Go ahead.
No problem. I understand. So these twisted, evil monsters are planning weirder stuff. I have a scoop. Something that they're planning is disinfection tunnels. Before you will have to go into stores, you'll have to go to a tunnel, and they will spray, stuff to disinfect you, so-called. So we need to stop these bums.
Yeah, disinfection tunnels. So, talking about, I totally think that's true. I mean, just look at some of the, Dave, remember we watched that video of the little, Japanese or Chinese kid that's going to school and doing the whole get up, the whole routine. I thought that was like, some sort of joke or something. That was on mainstream news the other day. That exact video.
Yeah.
insane. That's what they're going for.
That still doesn't mean it's true. There's a lot of false information out there that is just being repeated everywhere. But what he's talking about with the spray tunnels, when I go to a car wash, they now spray they fog your car before they do anything with this poison. And I say, no, you're not fogging my car. I don't let them do it because that stuff is toxic. It's just the hand sanitizer, all of that stuff is carcinogenic. So we need to avoid it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even overcooking food, just burning food, that stuff's bad for you too. So eat things as raw as possible. Like for example, real quick, like just cooking. You cook corn, I just boil water. After it's boiled, I turn off the heat, let the corn sit in there for 5 minutes. That's it. Barely cooked. And that's how we should, definitely get our nutrients, not through killing our food, boiling something like corn for half an hour. You just kill it, then you eat it. You're getting nothing from it. So, not to go into too long about the health aspect, but definitely important. You're just saying it with all this, the hand sanitizer, everything they're putting out there. But one thing very important to really get a good frame of reference with people is like on social media. Just look at their profile. A lot of them have like, they're dead asleep if without even reading their post. Just look at their profile. If it says like their likes, like MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, they're done. Anybody that watches news, for the most part, are lost causes. It's the people that are not invested. They're not these people like, oh, I got to get up. I have to have my coffee. I got to turn on Fox News. I got to turn on CNN. If they're inundated with that daily, those people are just like gone for the most part. So, yeah, it's the people that are just like, hey, I'm busy. I don't really have time to watch the news. I hear about this and that. Those are the people who are easier, of course, to get them to see the truths of this world.
RV is so right. I know people like that, and they are gone. There's no bringing them back. That's their daily routine. Is they have to hit the news in the morning, and then when you talk to them, it's almost like you're watching TV. Everything they say is right off the news. You could have watched the news that morning, and whatever they believe, they're just repeating it, and it makes people feel very smart. And it reminds me exactly of school, right? In school, you were told all the truth from the teacher who stood at the front. And then if you regurgitated that information, that's how you became smart. That's how you got known in the community as being smart or known in your classroom as smart. It was just regurgitating those facts. So those same people sit on their couch every morning, they get the news, and then they think as long as they go out throughout the day and repeat those things, then they are considered smart, and that's all you need to be smart in this world. Yeah,
Jeran, one thing I want to point out, too, my early years of truth-seeking and making videos, and I'd really like, I have to challenge myself in many things. I'm like, I was talking about fake news, and to verify for myself, I said, man, is it really a stretch to believe all these news stations, they're all like working together and everybody's lying, they're all part of it, and then really understanding the big picture of Masonry, and you see Masons doing the hand signs. Then, for example, I see this one guy on CNN, and I'm like, is he part of it? Is he part of it? Then I go do research, and I see, that he's doing the same Masonic hand signs that someone from Fox News. So you see this, how it's all, this big rigged system. When you really break it down, you're not just looking at the news, you're looking at all aspects. Look at people's backgrounds. They're part of fraternities, part of, Masonic organizations, even people, big names, as we know, like Nelson Mandela. They didn't even hide it that he was a Mason. It's on these Masonic websites and all these other big names. So the digger, the more you dig, the more you find, and it's just, really you have to really stretch out and do some real research, which most people are just going to reject and not even look. They're just going to reject what you say, not look at any of this, not try to come to any conclusions. Their conclusion is, I believe what I'm told. Who are you? All these stations can't be lying. They don't know they're all controlled by one entity. And, of course, the false paradigm, the left versus right, and with CNN versus Fox News. Literally, all we have, not that we have, but that's out there, that's really a conservative network, is Fox News, and everything is left because they want the majority of people to go left because the right is closer to the truth, and that is the truth. And I've seen it many times where you convert people. It's the people, I'm more likely to convert someone, obviously, that watches Fox News before anybody that watches CNN or BBC or MSNBC or any of these far left stations. So that's very, very clear, and that should be pointed out. is the people that are easy to convert into truth are the people on the right side, for sure.
I agree, because those are people that talk about freedom and Second Amendment, and these people that also believe that there's a creator or that religion is important and should be treated that way. Yeah. Dan, did you have anything else to say?
Yeah, just that's it right there. I'm sorry, you're talking to Daniel. I apologize. You're talking to Daniel. I forgot he was there. Sorry, Daniel. Go ahead.
Hold the whole time. Go ahead.
No problem. No problem. Thanks for the discussion. Have a good night, guys.
All right, thanks, Dan. All right, let's see if we can get one more in before the break. 516, you're on with Jeranism RAW. Who's this?
I'm there, yeah. That's everywhere. Whole station, his station, the cage. Yeah.
You're on here.
That package is somewhere in the system. Yeah, because there's no movement on it.
Good. All right, thank you for calling in and having a work-related conversation. How about 240? You're on with Jeranism RAW. 240.
Hey, guys, this is Joshua calling in from Vietnam. Can you hear me?
What's up from Vietnam? How are you?
I'm doing great. I just wanted to call in and reinforce some of RV's rhetoric. Like, I live in Saigon, which is a city of 15 million people. Flights were coming in directly from Wuhan, nonstop flights till the end of February. At the very end of January, it was the Lunar New Year, which is the Vietnamese New Year, and the Chinese New Year. So I live in what's called Cholon in Saigon. If you search that in Wikipedia, CHOLON, it'll tell you it's the biggest Chinatown in the world. So I'm completely surrounded by Chinese families who all went home for the holidays and then all flew back to Vietnam before the lockdowns happened. We did the 14-day lockdown, and now we're completely back to normal except closed borders.
Yeah, great reporting from Vietnam. Just confirming what we're talking about here in the show. Thanks for that very much.
Anybody? Is everybody wearing? What's the mask situation there? Mask situation in Vietnam.
We're back to pre-corona levels. So pre-corona levels, about 80% of women would wear masks while riding motorbikes and about 20% of men. And then like 5% of people would just weirdly have masks on all the time. And we are totally back to those levels.
Okay, gotcha. Anybody else?
It's about pollution, though, when you're riding the motorbike.
Right, yeah. It's about bad air quality, right?
What about the restaurants? What about like, are they the so-called social distancing and how are people interacting in the restaurants and in general? What's the chatter like? I'm assuming you speak some Vietnamese or I'm not. I shouldn't assume anything, but
yeah, I'm actually fluent.
Oh, great! Oh, fantastic! So you have a very good grasp of exactly.
I spent 2 years studying here.
Oh, fantastic!
So yeah, the community was very scared of white people initially, and then after that, we're totally back to normal. In reality, restaurants and bars didn't actually close. Like if you knew the right people and the right street to go down, you could find a place to drink anytime, 24/7, because this is Saigon. It's a city of 15 million people.
Oh, speakeasy.
So I was still going out and having a good time.
Awesome. Fantastic. Appreciate the reporting from Vietnam.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, no problem, guys.
Jason, Rose, anybody? Dave, no?
No, I can think of.
I'm
good.
Thanks. Appreciate the call. So you said they were very afraid of white people, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
One thing I want to jump in real quick, Jaron. I seen someone in the chat, Daniel Hobbs, is talking about how left and right, they're all working together. Of course. And that's the point I was making. They can't have it all left. Then it'll be obvious, that TV is controlled. They got to give that so-called balance with Fox News. That's what I'm getting at. They're all left. And here's something I want to make clear. All these so-called right-wing presidents, they're all liberals as well. They're just playing a role in the world stage. This is very clear. We all know this. When you hear Richard Nixon talking about the Bohemian Grove and those tapes, talking about the homosexual activities they're all partaking in. These are Republicans partaking as well. So it's very clear they're all left. They're just playing a role on the world stage as far as the people playing the right side.
I'll be right back, guys.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of Truth Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil. The mainstream media and establishment are running scared right now, and they've prominently featured truthfrequencyradio.com as number 89 on the federal government's hit list, also known as the fake news list, which is essentially a list of sites slated for censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and other social media. Now is the time for you to get involved. Share your favorite TFR shows far and wide on forums and social media. Tell your friends and family about your favorite shows. If you're a business owner, get in touch with us to feature your product or service right here on TFR. And if you haven't done so already, become a TFR supporter now and get unlimited commercial-free downloads in high quality.
Visit truthfrequencyradio.com/sign-up.
Thank you for making TFR the leader in independent and uncensored talk radio. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection
From deception.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
He was the deputy director of MI6, Britain's most senior diplomat. He was knighted by the Queen and in charge of thousands of highly trained spies. But he was also a member of the paedophile information exchange. He had 45 diaries full of sex fantasies with children. His friend was the private secretary of Margaret Thatcher. He strangled a child and hit another with his car. He raped young boys and organized orgies with children for other politicians.
The Enigma Channel, intelligent television for planet Earth. EnigmaTV.com.
We are TFR.
My faith in destiny is all I need to prevail. Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to the show. Rose, I see you in the chat talking about your video with RV. That was taken down from YouTube, huh? They wouldn't allow.
Yeah, but it wasn't because we said anything particularly controversial. I just decided to play an Aphex Twin video to observe the intense, hardcore social engineering. So that was the reason why. And also I wanted to mention to RV, I actually had a conversation with Hoaxbuster, the real Hoaxbuster. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the channel, but he puts out some great work, and we had such a wonderful conversation. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to understand his Scottish accent because Crow had an issue with it, but I totally understood him. It wasn't any worse than Rob S's accent, and he had to mention that one of the people that heavily influenced him was RV. got him into
awesome.
all of this. Yeah.
I appreciate passing that on, and I really enjoyed the Scottish fan. I don't want to say the fans, but followers. I don't like to use that word fan, followers. And there's a tremendous amount of people in the UK, specifically Scotland, that have followed me throughout the years, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm going to have him on my channel, and I will probably also transcribe the conversation after the fact for those that might have a problem with the accent. But I love it.
When did you do the show with RV that got taken down, Rose? Rose?
What was that, David?
When did you do the show with RV that got taken down?
I don't remember. When was that, RV?
Oh, that was about 3.5 weeks ago. And the same thing with Sam Tripoli. We had about a little bit over 40,000 views in a few days. And that thing was canned, but Sam told me that, I said, I'm sorry, Sam, if I said something I should have said. He goes, oh no, man, don't worry. They pulled it off and they didn't even give me a strike. They took it down with no strikes. So, I have that video. I'll probably upload it on my backup. Hopefully it'll stick, but this is what happens, when I talk on, some of these live streams, they get yanked. So that's not a surprise. And, of course, my channels in the past, no strikes, nothing. And just the whole channel goes down, that type of thing. So that's why I got to change things up a bit, change the background, the banner, the icon, the avatar, the name. It makes it a bit harder for people to find me, but it definitely helps, I guess, internally, whatever the case is. Yeah, major issues with live streams, podcasts that I've been on, they get yanked.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about True.tube. Technically, that video should still be there. And I don't know if Tinfoil Hat is on that list, but if it is, all videos that were loaded there will remain there. So, anyway, that's that. Let's go back to the phones. Let's see here, and got a lot of callers lined up. Now I forgot where we left off. I believe it was here. Go ahead. RV, go ahead.
Yeah, Jared, I was going to say this is very important, and I butt in a lot, I jump a lot, because so much stuff comes to my head. It's very, very, very important to discuss. I get messages, calls from a lot of truthers asking me after an event goes down, hey, RV, what do you think about this? I said, look, guys, if it's spotlighted, it's their creation. And when they have the same type of popular slogans, I can't breathe, just like Eric Gardner, you're going to know, these things that I spot right away. Doing this for a long time, it's all the telltale signs that these are their creations. But what I'm getting at, this is what I really want to get at, is it doesn't mean, of course, they won't just do something very real in the future. So it's hoax after hoax after hoax, then boom. I don't want to put fear in people, but this is what I see. It's like the boy that cried wolf. We have to be careful. I'm very careful with that because, again, we have to watch out. We can't just assume it's going to be nonstop hoax. I don't think so. I'm very sure something very real. After they're done corralling everybody in a certain direction, then boom, something real is going to happen.
All right, I was just checking. Somebody in the chat was kind of making me like, what? That can't be true. Somebody in the chat was saying that Owen Benjamin's channel was down on DLive, but I just went there and he's actually live right now as we speak. I don't know why they say, maybe am I reading the wrong thing? Somebody says, somebody was thinking, I just got an alert that Owen was going to be on with Jeran tonight. Not sure why you would have gotten that alert. Not from me, but anyway. All right, let's go on to the next caller at 910. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. What's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? James from North Carolina.
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I just wanted to say something I noticed that I don't think a lot of people have noticed about this whole coronavirus being just super contrived. But it was some award show before this whole thing started, and that Billie Eilish creature that they prop up nowadays. She had on a mask. It was like a lace mask or whatever. And when I saw her in the show, it was like, God, she looks so stupid. You know what I mean? But just fast forward a couple months, and now everyone's wearing a mask. And so I think it's just proof for people that don't believe that the government would do this kind of thing. I mean, what are the chances of that? You know what I mean?
Well, Madonna did the same thing. She had a music video from last year with all these people wearing these masks. and they're all like dead, lying on the stage, like on stairways, and she's still alive. Yeah.
Yeah, at a concert actually. So, and one other thing I noticed, and that Walmart, I don't know about where you guys are at, but here, right before all this crap started, they put up those gates at the front of the store. You know what I mean? And on the Walmart subject, because it's the only store in my hometown here in North Carolina, it's literally the only place to go shop now. So they cut their hours. So they used to be open 24 hours a day. Now they got these limited hours, so people are actually having to go to the store during these limited hours, the same number of people that would go otherwise. Doesn't it make common sense that the stores are more congested because they're not open 24 hours a day?
Well, the reason they said they're doing that, yeah, they said they're doing that because they want to clean out the stores. They want them super clean. They're going to have it thoroughly. That's their excuse.
They're still open 24 hours, just not in a row.
Yeah, right. You just can't go in there.
Yeah, you know what's funny is one thing you're mentioning about the Walmarts is I did notice it where they only have one entrance. Like, what the hell? What's it going to make a difference? You have one entrance or two entrances open, or it makes absolutely no sense. But they want to really put some change that's viewable, seeable. You can see and all around you. Because if all the doors are open, there's no barricades, they have normal hours, then people feel like everything's normal. So they want to make a difference, like things are changed due to this so-called virus, but the changes make absolutely no sense. Why only one entrance and exit during business hours at Walmart? Why? Makes no sense at all.
Right, exactly. I had one more thing I wanted to say about Walmart. So I don't wear the mask. Like I said, 99% of people do wear the mask. And today, actually, when I went to Walmart here, there was a girl at the front door, and she as I walked by or whatever, she said, "Hey, have you got a mask?" And all I said was, "I've got asthma." And she said, "Okay," and just let me go in the store. And the whole time I'm in the store, of course, I'm getting dirty looks from everyone wearing their mask. But just for people, I mean, maybe a way to get around this. I mean, that seemed to work at Walmart here, and they didn't ask me any other questions. I didn't have to show any kind of paperwork or anything. So it could be that simple, just to try to use the hip. And I really do have asthma, but like I said, she just took my word for it and let me go right on. So maybe people can try to do that.
That does work. I've been saying I have a medical condition, and I leave it at that. I got confronted a couple times the past few days, and no one has said anything to me after that.
All right, appreciate the call, caller. Let's go to 570. You're on the air. What's up? 570.
Yeah, hello.
There you go.
I got Brian from Pennsylvania here. I got inspired to call in when you guys were speaking earlier about the problem with cash, and I wanted to share a true life event that I was, and maybe give you guys some insight.
Please.
And I believe the essence of what I'm going to be referring to is codified at least in one place. If you want to look in the UCC section 3-603B. So, a couple weeks ago, I was finishing up a 16-hour workday. I was very hungry, probably pretty grumpy, and I got to Chipotle just before they closed. I was the only one in there without a mask, but I ordered, and as I went to pay, they looked at me funny because I had cash, and they said, "Look at the sign. We don't accept cash anymore." I said, "Wow." Said, "All right, well, I have cash, and I don't know if you know about legal tender laws, but if I walk out of this door without the food that I just ordered while trying to hand you this cash, it's to call the police, because I'm going to need to file a police report about this." And by the time that I could pretty much finish speaking, it looked like he touched his keyboard or whatever a little bit, and he said, "It's all right, I just comped your meal, including the drink. Have a nice night." So for whatever it's worth, I just wanted to share that with you guys, because
I like
it's real. And this kid was probably only 19, manager at Chipotle, but he definitely looked scared. And I did mention to him quickly, like, I'm not a lawyer, but if you break laws like this, you might not be able to be hidden by Chipotle. You might be personally liable. And I was serious about it, and I had every intention of going out there and waiting for the police to come. And, if we really mean what we say, we gotta really mean it, and we gotta do it, and
Hell yeah.
encourage others to really stick up for themselves.
Rose, do you agree? I mean, is that the actual law? Because that's the way I remember it. That the legal tender, they have to take it in exchange for goods and services.
It says it right on the bill, actually.
That's how I remember it as well.
That is so good.
Yeah, you know what? One thing that needs to be really mentioned here is all these, with everything, all this nonsense happening, cops are enforcing laws that aren't even laws. So if it's not down on paper, it's just like getting back to the HOA. You can't just make up rules that are not there. They must be put into place before they can enforce them. So they're like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that because COVID. Well, where's your laws? And also store policy. It needs to be in store policy as well. But as far as accepting money, that's going to override any store, of course.
Yeah, we need to be educating the business owners because we know this isn't a law, so the cops aren't going to be enforcing anything. And so it's the business owners out of fear who are perpetuating and self-enforcing it with their employees and their customers. If only they knew that if they were fined, they wouldn't have to pay it. It's an easy process to follow. The stuff can end. So we really need to put ourselves out there and educate people.
One thing I'll say, too, is one thing I do is when I'm out and about and I talk to people, employees specifically, I try to put feelers out as far as, people believing it. Of course, I'm not too concerned that people not wearing masks, but I already know how they feel. But the people wearing masks, specifically employees, I like to engage them. And a majority that I've spoken with, they don't, they said they don't believe it. They think there's something fishy. And a few said, yeah, we got to be safe and this. But I've come across a good amount of people that saying, yeah, basically, like we all know, it's embellished and just fear type of thing. And even going into something like a dollar store and some employees saying, yeah, I don't believe it, but this is a county rule and this, and we have to do it or else we'll be fine. And some employees, they're like, no, I don't care. We're going to come out here and do anything to us. No, they're not going to do anything. I've seen that with employees at a dollar store say that to me, and like they're not concerned about it at all. But on the door itself, it says mask required. So there you go. Just
because they're afraid of the social pressure. It's because socially they think it's going to make them more money, or they're afraid of a fine. But if only they knew that there wasn't anything to be afraid of, and if only we would stop allowing these people to keep perpetuating it. We got to stand up and become the majority. We got to educate people one-on-one, especially business owners.
Well, the big thing with me is mentioning the Vietnam and Laos and Cambodia and Mongolia. When I mention that, they have like a strange look in their face. Like, I'm like, yeah, you could look it up. You don't, pull out your phone and take a look. Zero. And so, knowledge is power. You arm yourself with information. Of course, anybody out there, and these people, a lot of them, again, Jeran said it earlier, all they're doing is regurgitating. They're not really doing any research whatsoever, just what's headline. You throw stuff at them they haven't heard, and they don't know what to say, a lot of them. But there's people out there that do know, but, most of them, of course, they're the ones actually doing some research. And the ones that just repeat what they hear on TV, of course, they're not going to know any of this.
Yeah, because all it takes is, in their mind, 30 minutes of watching TV, and you have all the information that you could ever need for that day. Bob did send me an article, just so you guys know, that says the federal government makes rules for legal tender in the United States. Cash is a legal tender to all public and private debts. However, the law does not say that you can't restrict customers from paying cash. According to the federal government, you are not required to accept cash payments. So that's this article. And the more I think about it, I mean, they're going to treat it as just like a right to refuse service. If the business doesn't want to accept your cash, I'm not sure there's something we can do about it. That's according to this article. Again, maybe people have their own thing. And obviously this guy got free Chipotle out of it. So,
the thing is, Jeran, they need to cite the actual, they cited the actual part of the law where it's written that they can refuse cash, current U.S. currency, cash in the U.S. specifically. They need if that's an article, they actually cited it where it says that by law.
Actually, I'll send you this article that he sent.
Hey, Jeran.
Yes.
Look at the chat on YouTube. Read Joshua Fouquet's quote.
Where at? I lost it. The chat on YouTube. Okay, I'm looking at it. Is it recent?
Yeah, it's recent. It's still on the screen. So Joshua Forget writes, DITRH, Moon hasn't been working on the app for a few days. Is that me or an issue? Well, everyone's having that issue at this time of the month because there's no moon in the sky. And I get dozens of emails and complaints that the moon isn't working every month at this time. Just turn on the moon. Turn on the rabbit, fast forward, let it go around a couple times. You'll see the moon reemerge. But it's a new moon, so there's no moon on the app. It's so funny. Not to pick on you, but it's so funny how many people complain. I've uninstalled and reinstalled the app 3 times and still no moon. I'm like, just wait 2 more days.
Okay, well, I just sent Russian Viz. I don't know if you want to read that article, but go from there. All right, thanks, caller. Appreciate the info. Great info. All right, let's go to 616. You're on the air. What's up? 616. You're on the air. Going once, going twice.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Try again. Go ahead. 616. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jeran.
Yes.
Jeran.
Yes. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Okay. Yeah. This is Danny from Michigan, the great state of Michigan, Governor Whitler's state.
Oh, she's so cool.
Yeah. Hey, I have a local store here that has a sign up on their door. It says, due to the mandate, everybody coming in, customers and employees must wear masks. If you're not wearing a mask, we're going to assume you have a medical condition.
Nice. So, it says that. Oh, I love that.
That's where I'm going to do all my shopping now. Too bad it's just a liquor store.
Well, good. I'm glad that they're smart enough to put that. That's actually very intelligent. Dave, have you seen that yet anywhere? That's pretty good.
No, I love it. That's beautiful. That's I'll do my business at that store.
Yeah, give them an extra $1 for me.
And my wife said that we got an email. We got an email from our doctor's office and said that they're so busy writing exemptions, medical exemption cards, that you have to make appointments now to do it.
Wow, okay. So doctors are starting to get some calls like, please help me out. I don't want to wear a mask. Can you write a note? Saying it's a smart way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I mean, the position to be in is the one where you just go around telling people you have a doctor's note, because you never know how bad that could go. But if you actually have a doctor's note, you have the power to sue that business. And then it's much more powerful to stand there and say, I've got a doctor's note. Are you really going to remove me from here? You can have that same argument and not have a doctor's note, but you have no recourse at the end of it. If you do have a doctor's note, there's recourse.
I have wondered if there's going to be doctors that emerge that are just for the purpose of giving exemptions in the same way that they used to have medical marijuana doctors that you'd make an appointment with, where you don't really need to say much. Just, I have a headache and a little bit of nausea, and they write you the exemption. And also, I'm in the market for any doctors that want to do black market, say that you were vaccinated even though you weren't, so that we can travel in the future.
Me too. I'm in that market as well. If you're a doctor
black
out there,
market COVID passes.
Yeah, let's do it. But you're absolutely right, Rose, because I remember being, I don't know how many years ago that was, you needed to have the medical exemption or the medical card for California. And I went into this doctor, he basically brought you in and talked to you for 30 seconds and then gave you your. So we need that for people to say that, hey, I don't need a mask, and I also have been vaccinated. I've gotten them all. I've gotten some of them 6 times, by the way.
Yeah, Jared,
I have a traumatic brain injury.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I have a traumatic brain injury from combat over in Iraq, and I haven't had a migraine. I get migraines from it, and I haven't had one for about a year until all this mask stuff. I had to start wearing a mask. And so I don't even have a medical exemption yet, but I'm going to get one because it's just crazy.
So far, you don't need one. So far, you can just walk in and be confident, and they can't ask you what your medical condition is. Even if you look at the Walmart ambassadors, the rules that they received from their higher ups is, if someone comes in and they say they have a medical exemption, do nothing except thank them for shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
All right,
Jeran,
thanks
can
for
I,
You get treated like
thanks
a
for
first
taking my
class
call.
passenger.
Go ahead if you have something else. Real quick, go ahead.
Thanks for taking my call. Can I plug my channel?
Sure.
I have a small channel. I got 70 subs and only 2 videos, but I think all of you guys would really like my videos.
All right, let's get you past 100.
The 2 that I have.
What's the channel?
It's Danny Diesel, all one word, DANNY, DIESEL.
Danny Diesel. All right, we'll definitely check it out and get you some subs.
Very good. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Call us back, get that doctor's note, and you're ready to start using it. All right, appreciate it.
Jeran, I want to jump in here real quick. We're talking about the cash, and I appreciate you sending me over that article from Bob. I'm looking here. We have to remember, I've been using eBay to buy things over the years. In the beginning, you could just throw a money order or even cash in the envelope to pay for stuff. And eBay's made it a rule that you cannot, the only acceptable form of payment are credit cards, PayPal or any other credit card. Acceptable form of payment is a credit card. So that's one thing that is obviously they're doing with eBay being a huge enterprise. But here's something. I see the article where it says there's no federal law that requires businesses to accept cash. But I also see that this is really bizarre. This is from CNBC, and this came out literally the beginning of the month. Bipartisan Senate bill would punish retailers for refusing cash payments. And this is headed off by Bob Mendez, a Democrat from New Jersey, and Kevin Kramer. So I'll pass it along to you. So there's a little bit of gray area with all this. So I guess it depends if it's online retail or in-person business. I don't know. But anyways, more research needs to be done. But I'm going to just send this over to you in the chat on Skype.
Yeah, I'm really trying to make. I mean, if it says on the bill is legal tender for all debts. So if you owe a store a debt, it's legal tender. Right? So I guess I'm a little confused as to how they can just say that and then say, oh, but no store has to require it. Well, what are you talking about? But
it's confusing.
Yeah,
Jeran, it's confusing why they would come out with a law that stores can a law for stores refusing to accept cash payments. I guess they're playing both sides of the field, and this one actually passed. I have no idea, but this literally just was a couple weeks ago. 3 weeks ago? I just saw this, just doing a little search here, so you maybe want to take a look at that when you get a chance.
All right, show's coming to a close here. James French, thank you for French, says, where are all the funeral processions for the dead? Who would stand for not burying their loved one? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen anybody, but again, you can get callers calling in on shows and all kinds of people in comments saying, my sister died, my brother died. I know a friend of, friend, and my coworker's sister's aunt died, and my coworker's wife passed away, and her father and her cousin had it, and her nephew too.
Well, Jeran, I'll say this real quickly, Jeran, if I could just jump in. The first time I looked it up, the first thing I found was that 33-year-old was a firefighter in New York, and I couldn't find anything else. And of course, a lot of people are going to say, oh, they died from coronavirus or COVID, because if they died from the flu or anything else, I hate to say this, that sounds really cold, but people are not going to care. So it's the big story. I want the attention. If I say it's a regular flu, it's not as, quote, sexy. So we'll lump it with COVID, because then I'll get more sympathy. And people actually work off that premise of, again, the big story. They want to push it, and more people are going to care, that type of thing,
Might even get more on your GoFundMe than you would have other.
Exactly. Yeah. Great point.
All right, and you guys, Rose, Jason, you have anything coming up you need to talk about real quick before the show's over?
Oh, we have a great episode coming out this Thursday on Crow 777 Radio with Tom Barnett, and we get into some heavy law stuff, very well laid out. That's a show you guys don't want to miss.
Yeah, so excited for everyone to hear that one.
Awesome. Love him.
Sweet. You have anything, RV or Dave, real quick, before we go?
I'm going to be on... Yeah, go ahead, David.
Go ahead, RV.
Thanks. I'll just say real quick, I'm going to say this. Great working with all you guys. And Jason and Rose is a fantastic addition to the Truth Movement. She's relatively new. She's, of course, behind the scenes before she made her appearance, but she just, fits right in so well and does fantastic work.
I'll be on Beth Martin's show 3 p.m. on Wednesday.
Truth Frequency Radio is your number one source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like Beyond the Veil with Chris and Cherie Geo, X Squared with Brooks Agnew, Paranormal Portal with Brent Thomas, Jeranism RAW with Jeran and Missa, Fearless with Frank Castle, Strange World with Mark Sargent, The Eye of Ra with Ra Castaldo, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray, Ironworks with Josh Corey, The Kev